In this video, I want to speak about documentation, how to do proper documentation, and why, if you don't have proper documentation, the value of your company is zero. Zero. So documentation is a weak point in so many companies, which it's a actually, frankly, it's shocking. Because if you don't have documentation, you basically don't have any tech IP. The intellectual property of your technology is zero, and I'll explain to you why. So assume you're onboarding new techs. What they would do? They will jump on the servers and read code, okay? Or they would develop everything from the beginning, from scratch. So if they develop everything from the beginning, then it means that your value is zero. If nobody is handing over to them knowledge, it means that you have basically zero technology, zero IP in the technology. And what happens if the tech guy is hit by a bus? They're going away, they're going overseas. Okay, what you would do? If the whole company is based on technology, it means that your technology is dead. You have nothing. Okay, you have a problem, no solution. Like, imagine that your ISP becomes crazy. We saw that during COVID that AWS removed some companies from their servers, or political opponents, that removed like all sorts of politicians from Twitter and stuff like that. If your business is based on the technology and you don't have any way to stand it back, put it back to life after a disaster or after some kind of a problem, then basically you don't have any IP. That's something that you need to note. Now, documentation, I must say that most documentation which I see is done really badly. That's a fact. I will explain soon why. But I'm coming to companies which either don't have documentation at all, or that they have really bad documentation, useless documentation, documenting the wrong things or things which are actually not useful at all. I will give a definition of what is a good documentation. A good documentation is a documentation in which if you give it to a non-tech savvy beginner intern, they can rebuild your tech stack. Sounds dramatic? That's how it needs to be. When we're looking at servers build document, there is a follow-up process, step-by-step process, which is telling even someone which is not a tech savvy how to rebuild the technology from zero. Which documents we require? We first of all need to have some kind of understanding for the architecture, the high level components. But this is really not enough. If someone is writing a cube API, a box API, and another box database, it's not telling me anything. Anyone can build a database, okay? But which database it is? How can I connect to it? Where is the backup? Where is the data? Okay, so architecture is good, but then we need to have some kind of a build document. A build document, if you look at my blog, a proper build document is a document which is telling you exactly which commands to write in the terminal to rebuild your environment. Okay, so it will be like which command I'm writing, and even a screenshot how it looks, what's the result, and then the next command, until I'm building the servers from scratch. Deployments, everyone using CI/CD, CD/CI, Git, blah blah blah. It's all really nice, but there's so many options. I know about 50 Git products. Which one? How? How are you doing the deployments? Just sending a Git repository of some sort of code doesn't tell you how you can deploy it to a live server. Okay? Database structure. What is the structure of the database? How I can connect to it? What are the fine configurations of the database? Passwords, keys, encryption keys. Where is it? If it's in the developer's mind or on the developer's laptop, something is done wrong. Certificates renewals. I saw so many services, including government services, that went down because the certificate expired. Now, certificates basically needs to be renewed automatically. But how many companies are actually renewing them automatically? Do you know if your developers have some kind of a script which is renewing it? You don't really know. Okay, so if the server is down and the developer is sick, what would you do? Okay, so certificates renewal process, scripts, troubleshooting documents. Usually troubles repeat. The same troubles come again if it's a log, clearing the log files, okay, which swamp the servers. Usually troubles repeat. If you don't have a troubleshooting documentation, you have troubles. How do you onboard new employees? A new employee is coming on board. I was in situations in which the managers, the CEOs didn't know how to onboard a new client. So it was all about like the first 2 weeks were about questions. How do starting from the Wi-Fi, which is basic, but how do I log into there? How do I interface with that? What is this thing? I don't know. Oh, so who can I ask? I don't know. So all this is time consuming, effort consuming, and have a huge risk. Configurations. Do you guys, the non-tech co-founders, do you know how the AWS console looks like? It's 99% configuration. Modern DevOps is 99% configuration. It means that we click buttons and we tweak things which nobody actually knows how we did because we don't even remember how we did. Okay, so if it's not documented, the process is not documented and trial ran by a non-tech savvy person which can actually rebuild it or repeat it, then you have a big problem. And what about API accesses? So do you know how many APIs your application is using? Tell me now. Do you know how many? 5, 6? Look at your architecture diagram. Then ask your developers. Ask them, for example, how do you hook to Facebook? How do you do OAuth? How do you hook to databases? Is it an API? Apparently, you'll find out that it's an API. Are you using Firebase? It's an API. So all those things needs to be documented. The architecture diagram is not capturing even not 1% of what needs to be documented. And if you not documented those things, your intellectual property is zero. Thank you for listening. I hope you will adapt some of my ideas. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget that the slides of those videos are given on my Telegram channel. See you. Thank you for watching. Please share this video and subscribe to my Dr. CTO channel to get the most latest updates. See ya.